Well, hello, dear viewers. This is Wolf. Welcome to Level Up Reviews. Today, we shall review arguably the first dungeon crawling RPG on the computer. This is a complete classic named Temple of Apshai. This game was developed and published in 1979 by Automated Simulations. Later, the company was renamed to Epix. It was programmed in BASIC by Jim Connolly, owner of Apex. Role-playing system Dungeon Quest was developed by John Freeman, and the level design was done by Jeff Johnson. The game originally came out on two of 1977's Trinity, TRS-80 and Commodore PET. TRS-80 was distinguished by the fact that most of the 8-bit computers of its time had only 1 kilobyte of RAM, while TRS-80 had 4. In 1980, it came out on the third member of the Trinity, Apple II. The Atari port was only released in 1981. Jim Connolly and John Freeman were avid Dungeons & Dragons players. They ran a D&D game where Connolly doubled as a dungeon master. Connolly loved the idea to put his favorite game on the computer and to tell the stories which, despite of the limitations of the contemporary computers, he somehow managed to do, which he did quite creatively by including story alongside of beautiful artwork in an instruction manual. Each room had a description in the book. Quite impressive considering game had 200 rooms. And the artwork design brings some of 30 monsters in the game to life. The Temple of Apshai was a huge success. It was critically acclaimed. The game remained on the top of Compute Gazette list on Commodore 64 programs until 1984 and received an Origin Award for the best game of 1980. The game sold 30,000 copies by June of 1982, which is pretty impressive by the standards of those times. Temple of Apshai also had two add-ons. Yes, the add-ons are not trends of the new RPGs. They were there from the beginning. Upper Reaches of Apshai, which was more lighter toned, and Egyptian-inspired Temple of Ra. In 1985, a remake came out, Temple of Apshai Trilogy, which included the original game and its two add-ons. This version is still available on Steam if interested. The game itself is pretty simple. It has two modes, Inn and Dungeon. In the inn, you can buy weapons, potions, armors, even haggle with the innkeeper. You can choose between projectile and close-ranged weapons, or advisably take both of them. You can create your own character, which randomly generates stats akin to dice roll in D&D, and gives you random amount of money as well. Or import your own character that gives you ability to abuse game quite a lot. You can give yourself best stats, best weapon, best potions, and unlimited money. But really, I think you're only cheating yourself. You can choose which dungeon out of 3 you want to go in, and 4 different levels in each. Each level, of course, is harder than the previous one. In the dungeons, you do not really have a set goal, besides leveling up, gathering as much treasure as you want, and fighting monsters. The graphics are not much to look at, but the book puts you in the game. I mean, look at the game without reading. And now look at it while reading. The smooth stonework of the passageway floor shows that advanced methods were used in its creation. A skeleton sprawled on the floor just inside of the door, a bony hand still clutching a rusted dagger, outstretched towards the door to safety. A faint roaring sound can be heard from the far end of the passageway. Or look at the artwork to understand what you're really fighting. It does what creators set out to do. It feels like a game of D&D. All in all, it was a great beginning for a computer role-playing game. And many things in this game are staples of the RPG genre. The game had a prequel, Date Stones of Rain, released in 1979. It didn't change much, just added 20 minutes time limit. And the story is different, of course. It also had sequel, Hellfire Warrior, and the other games collectively known as the Dungeon Quest series. But unfortunately, there's not much innovation and differences in this game, except stories, of course. Which is a shame since the game was revolutionary in its time. But the future of RPG gaming went to a different direction. And it was a completely different game that inspired most of the modern games. But to play that game, you must beware, foolish mortal.